back to the show, sports fans. Today we've got someone who lives at the intersection of grit, elevation, and pure athleticism. A jumper who's literally raising the bar every time he steps on the track. He's a senior high jump star for the Clemson Tigers track and field program, has cleared some of the biggest heights in the ACC, and brought home a gold medal at the ACC Indoor Championship with a personal best of 2.19 meters, good enough to put him among Clemson's all-time best in the event. From dominating all meets like the Clemson opener to grinding through championship workouts, he's earned first team all ACC honors, impressed week after week, and shown what perseverance and confidence can do on the field. Beyond the high jump, he brings leadership in the Tigers roster and excels in the classroom as well, a true example of an awesome student athlete. Without further ado, welcome Shy. We are so excited to have you here with us today.
Hey, Jay, that was you hyped me up too much. I'm old and I need to retire. That's fine. Yeah.
So,
Cool.
Shad, thank you so much for coming on. So, our first question for you today is just looking towards some exciting things for you ahead. Obviously, you have the ACC Track and Field Championship. So, that's obviously one of the biggest track meets in college. So, we were just wondering, what does preparing for that meet look like for you?
Yeah, the same. You just kind of like go in a routine and it's like every meet day is the same. So you wake up. Lucky for me, it's like in the afternoon. So it's like when we have like these little invitationals or like our regular meets throughout the year. Sometimes we'll jump at like 10 a.m. Sometimes we'll jump at like 2 p.m. And so it kind of like you kind of like differ in that way. Okay, like when do I eat breakfast? How do I like feel good? Like what do I eat so I'm not heavy? But indoor ACC is always like in the afternoon, so I can just wake up, have a normal day, have my normal meet day schedule. I don't have to like change anything. So that's about it, really. You wake up and go.
Okay, so knowing that that's how you prepare for them physically, how would you differ mentally how you prepare for the ACCs compared to a regular season meet?
Um, Kind of not like really. I guess like the best way to like describe it as kind of like the other meets leading up to this is I don't want to say they're not important, but like this is what you train for. Like you train for the championships, you train for ACCs, and you train for nationals. So like the other meets, you can, if it goes bad, you can look at it as a practice. Okay, like this is what didn't go well. How do we fix it? Monday rolls around, we do it again. The weekend comes, we try to like implement it. And so it's like this week, you don't change anything up. You don't change anything about your plan, what you do mentally. You just kind of like know that everything you do has led to this moment. So you just go and jump.
With a meet like the ACCs, there's more attention and more coverage, and so more eyes on the results. Do you feel like there's a shift as an athlete for that?
Definitely depends on your athletes. So we're gonna have some freshmen going into this meet who maybe like pretty sure most of them made it to like state championship, but that's high school. But it's like this is their first real like collegiate meet. Each team is going to bring their like best 25 athletes to the table. So there's going to be some athletes who's like never been on the stage. I think coach was telling us there's one kid who's been on the track team for 4 years, and this is his first ACCs. So for like somebody, an athlete like that, I think it maybe add some nerves and like some anticipation to it. Me, on the other hand, I've been in championships my whole life. I won championships at all stages, so I just kind of, eh, let's go. What's the
Okay.
name? Line them up. Let's go.
That's awesome. So, as a transfer student, why did you end up ultimately choosing Clemson, and what does like wearing the tiger paw on your chest mean for you, especially at a bigger meet and like the biggest stage?
Yeah. Damn.
Heavy
Uh,
question.
yeah, it is. I don't really think I chose Clemson. I'm not gonna lie. Clemson kind of like chose me.
Yeah.
I think God sent me here for a reason, just because of like what it did do for my career. I came, hit a PR mark. My post career, I want to become a vet, and now I like work under a the president of Shelter Medicine on the board there. So it's like the people I've met, the connections I've made. I think that is why I got sent here. I wasn't like jumping out of my bed. Oh my God, we're gonna go to Clemson because like I'm from here and it's 20 minutes down the road. But since I've been here, um. coming from like my last school, the school pride here is amazing. So it's like just like knowing I can wear that tiger paw that the entire student body kind of like loves, kind of like it makes it a little more fun to go out and compete for my school versus coming from a place where it's like nobody even knew what our athletics was, you know? So I think just in like that aspect, the school support we have, the student body, how you guys show up for both men and women's basketball game is just like just Clemson athletics in general, baseball and softball, gymnastics, how they pack out Little John. The fact that I can be a part of that like little group kind of like makes me feel a little special.
All right. So we've talked about preparing for the ACCs and the pressure that comes with with a stage like that. And today, athletes aren't just competing, they're constantly visible, whether it's highlight videos, meet results, or social media reactions. There's a spotlight that follows those performances. And sometimes that visibility can turn into scrutiny, especially if things don't go as planned. A tough meet, an injury update, even something small online can become bigger quickly. So I want to shift into something that doesn't always get talked about enough, how athletes manage communication during difficult or high pressure moments. So that leads me to my question, do you feel prepared as a student athlete to handle a public controversy or crisis if one were to happen?
Yeah, that's a fire question. Again, I think that's one of those things that kind of like differs between athletes. Me personally, I'm like a hard head. Like I'm gonna tell you I'm better than you. I'm gonna tell like the media I'm better than you, and I'm gonna go out there and like show you. Like I'm gonna give myself that pressure so that way, like when it falls, like you can't put the pressure on me and then make me feel bad when it doesn't go a certain way. Like I'm gonna like give myself that pressure and then live up to that, and then knowing that like okay, like I gave myself that pressure when it doesn't happen, I don't like feel as bad necessarily. So it's like critics or like bad videos and all that fun jazz. Like even now. Thursday, I'm getting ready to go compete. I missed fall training due to like other stuff. And then this season, I got injured during the second meet. So this is like my first week back, or my first competition back in like over a month. And I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna go out there. I'm gonna win. I'm gonna be better than you. I'm coming home with the gold medal. And it's like if I don't come home with the gold medal, I put that pressure on myself. So you can't make me feel bad, and then I can go to sleep, wake up the next day, and then get ready for the outdoor season. So I think it's like one of those things that like it just depends on the athlete because there are some athletes that like something bad happens, they try to like cover it up, or it's like bad performance, and then people like talk about it, and then they don't like ever see, like they don't ever recover from that. So it goes both ways. I think once you get into like a certain tier status of athleticism and you really start hitting these like elite meets, elite smarts, you start like really like getting up there with like the best of the best. Is like you have to be delusional. You have to put the pressure on yourself because if you don't, you're not going to survive.
So, aside from your mentality and how you prepared yourself for any public controversy, has the university or the athletic staff given you any media training or guidance?
Not really. Maybe like the bigger sports with good coverage, like football and basketball. I'm pretty sure Clemson has something set aside for them. We don't get nothing. The only thing we get that the general student body doesn't get is a uniform and athletic buildings. That's really it.
I love what you said earlier about how like you like to like write your own narrative. So if you're gonna make the pressure, it's gonna be because you're putting pressure on yourself. Do you think athletes today in our era of cancel culture have to think strategically before like they post anything?
They probably do. I guess I can agree because definitely at a certain point when I was like having certain sponsors and stuff like that, I had to like watch what I post and then I did get backlash. They did. There was people that was like, your athlete's posting this, and they like sent it to the HR team, and our HR was like, Shine, you can't be posting things like that. And I'm like, womp womp. So I don't think I know there is like a certain limit and look you gotta have, but at the end of the day, you're not an influencer, you're not like a public speaker, you're an athlete, you know, like some people hate the saying shut up and dribble, but at the end of the day, like we're here to like just dribble. So it's like all that other stuff is like on the side is like even though it's there, I don't think it should be there. Like, I'm not here to play God. I'm not here to like sit up and be a pastor and tell you like what life decisions. I'm here to jump over a bar. So,
I know that you work closely with Celsius and you are kind of as like an ambassador for them. So since they're more of like a national brand, I was wondering if that changes the way you post when you're posting like with kind of like the Celsius uniform in terms of like maybe something you wouldn't post like for your like personal.
wait, say that again. I'm sorry.
So does it do when you're posting specifically like for Celsius, like a post like in partnership with them, does that kind of change kind of how you approach like how the post might look or what you might say compared to just like a regular post?
Yeah, obviously no profanity, nothing derogatory in like any kind of way targeting a certain group. No other like competing brands. Other than that, they do a good job. They like you to show like personality and not make it look like a script, but there is still like a level of like professionalism they expect you to have and uphold when posting versus my everyday life. And Taylor can probably tell you my Snapchat story. So it definitely is different. And but it's nothing like outrageous. It's just like it's the same thing. Like you show up for work every day. You're not gonna show up drunk and cussing out your boss. And if you work in any type of customer service, you're not gonna be like speaking to customers like a certain way or like so it's kind of like the same thing as like any job really.
Yeah. Well, these have been really insightful answers so far. You just have one more question, so hang with us. But if you think something were to happen where you would have to use like crisis communication, do you personally think it's better to respond immediately, even if you don't have all the details, or wait until you know everything? So how would you balance speed with accuracy? You know what I'm saying?
Like if I had to respond to like a
Yeah.
crisis, what do I think is the best?
Mhm.
Is the crisis involving me or the crisis is
Yeah.
like, oh, um, I
Like
guess
you
it
just
kind
go
of,
online and you're like, this is what I did, I don't care. Or do you go like talk to your coaches, maybe like an advisor, your Celsius people before you like throw it all out there?
I kind of think it depends on the severity of like the situation. If like I don't know. It kind of just like depends. Like if somebody is accusing me of having illegal spikes, I'm probably gonna respond by the or like right away and be like, no. But like if I'm being accused of like performance enhancements, I'll probably let like my coaches and nutrition and like athletic trainer like handle that. So it kind of just like depends on like the severity and like what exactly is the crisis saying.
I gotcha. That was a great answer. Now, before we let you go, we all
Okay.
know that you have a little shtick where you have a lot of animals. So, would you be willing to come bring one of your snakes on the Starting Five podcast? First ever
I
seen
will. Let me grab them. Pick a color, yellow or gray.
yellow.
Okay.
Do we think this is going to be the boa or the python? Everyone put your bets in now.
Boa.
Think about
The fact that's even a question.
I wouldn't even know
I
the difference if I saw them,
would ever
so
get here, but here we go.
He's getting them out of their contraption. Oh, he's back.
So this one is Slytherin. All of my animals have Harry Potter names.
it.
There's Luna Lovegood, which is I might show you her too. This one is Slytherin, and then my dog is Dobby. But
Wow.
Oh
yes.
my
Very much.
gosh. Does it ever try to go around your neck?
Yeah,
Oh, he's putting it around. That is a choice.
he just woke up, so he's actually like a little boring.
What if he ever tries to choke you?
He can't.
Wait, they're like not venomous?
No.
Wait, word.
It is
Well, where'd
fully
you get
How
them?
big how big will that snake get?
This one, um, they never stop growing. So the longer they live, it'll probably peak around like 5 feet. He's a male. Males are typically smaller. About
Oh,
5 feet in between like 4 and 7 pounds.
wait, wow.
And
what does
then
7
it eat?
live mice.
Oh, okay.
Has
Sorry.
this always been like a goal of yours is to have a snake?
Actually, no, I hated snakes until I got one. Wait, hold
But
on.
why did you get one if you hated them?
I'd be scared it was gonna choke me. You know how strong they are?
Same. I
Or
don't do
bite
snakes.
you.
Not happening.
What if he brings it to class one day? I guess y'all aren't in that class. Oh, oh my gosh. What is
This is
that?
Oh, it's
this
another one.
this is Luna.
Oh, I
Oh,
like
bet.
that one.
Yeah, she's cute. She's a boa constrictor, so she'll be about 9 to 10 feet,
Oh my God.
25 to 30 pounds.
That's
I
insane.
swear, aren't those venomous?
No,
Did you get his venom taken out?
no, they don't have any venom.
They just choke you to death, I
Well,
guess.
I know nothing about snakes then.
Um, Whoever asked about why did I get a snake,
Mhm.
I want to become an exotic veterinarian and work in like zoo and like wildlife. So for one, I told myself I need to get over this fear because if
Mhm.
someone shows up with a 30-foot boa constrictor, what am I gonna do?
You're on the job. You got to get it done.
That's what I'm saying. We got this one. And then on top of that, I kind of like gaslit myself. I was like, okay, I need a job as a vet tech somehow, and I have no experience. So I went out and bought animals and said that was my experience. And it worked. It
I love
worked.
a
I got
hustler,
the job.
honestly.
Yeah, it worked. I got the job and I'm getting
And you
into
got
the
the
sneak stuff
snake, so
to
you
do.
got everything.
I'm gonna
Exactly.
get a green tree python next.
There
That
you
might be
go.
pretty, like a light green.
I've never met anyone with a snake collection,
It's
Are
kind of
snakes
fun.
expensive, like to
but now I
buy?
have. So
They're expensive to buy, not expensive to keep. So wait, and ignore the mess. But so there's like one enclosure,
wait, that's awesome.
Oh,
and
wow.
then that's like the other one.
Aren't they like the tanks or enclosure is expensive, isn't it?
Yeah, the initial purchase is like expensive. So like the snake is right around $1,300. I got lucky. I paid 100.
Why didn't you just go in the wild and get one?
Because you're not gonna find this in the maybe if you go to like Colombia, like Argentina,
Oh,
Right. Just quick trip.
casual.
Yeah.
but yeah, I got it for 100. I basically robbed a guy. He was like, I can't take care of it. I need 250. I was like, broke college student, let me save up for the money. He was like, honestly, just give me 100 and I got you. And I said, sold. He gave me like $2,000 worth of things for 100 bucks.
Insane.
Dang.
What a steal. Think harder, not smarter.
Exactly.
Well, thank you so much for showing us your snakes. We loved it. And for all of your awesome answers. It was really nice to have you on our podcast. And we know you're super busy. So taking some time is really, really appreciated.
Thank you for having me. It was fun.
Of
Good
course.
luck at ACCs.
Thank you. You guys enjoy.
Bye.
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 Crisis communication in sports isn't just about apologizing, it's about protecting brand equity, restoring public trust, and controlling narrative. And in today's media era, that process has completely changed. When we think about crisis communication, um, throughout class, we've talked a good amount about a good amount about the image restoration theory, which includes denial, evasion of responsibility, corrective action, mortification, and reducing offensiveness. And those are kind of just the different ways that one can respond in to crisis. Um, so I think we'll get into a case study here based off of Tiger Woods. So Taylor, do you want to talk about this?
Yeah, so in very, very broad terms, we all know Tiger Woods, one of the greatest Hall of Fame golfers of all time. But in 2009, there was a big scandal with extramarital affairs being exposed, and he completely denied everything. He said these were all malicious rumors. He completely avoided the media initially, and then months later came out with a super scripted apology, basically, that everyone could tell was totally fake and really not written by him. He didn't take any questions from the press. This led to sponsors completely dropping him, a huge plummet in his reputation. And honestly, if you follow golf, you kind of know this was Tiger Woods' turning point, and he never really was the same after. Um, and as we know, during this time, there wasn't a huge social media effect. I mean, it was definitely still there, But as we all know, we are on TikTok and Instagram all the time. So kind of transitioning to if this were to happen in today's TikTok and Instagram era, would silence even be possible? Because I think the media gets everything online so quickly, you don't even have a minute to gather your opinions like Tiger was able to just deny.
Yeah, I think
Well,
in terms, oh yeah, Claire, you can go.
okay, you go, Casey.
I think like what's different now is like you don't just have like regular like press conferences because athletes have like their own personal social media pages. Like fans could just DM and ask questions. So I think for him, like he would be inundated with a ton more like comments of people like asking him what happened. That I think it could be possible, but it definitely would be harder. I think there would be more pressure from multiple different avenues than just traditional media. That would make it harder, but not necessarily, I think, impossible to ignore.
Yeah, I think going off of that, the premise of social media is how news spreads instantly. And I think athletes can release their own statements. But in this situation with Tiger, like, I think the silence ultimately damaged his credibility, if that makes sense.
I agree. Because denying can really only get you so far when there's actual evidence out there. And I
Yeah.
think people probably would have been a lot more understanding if he just was like, I cheated on my wife. It was a bad moment. I mean, obviously it doesn't make him look any better, but like at least he can have some accountability. But now I feel like if that happened, it's all out there before you can even talk.
hmm And like
And
the whole scandal was like him crashing his car into a fire hydrant, and it just sparked rumors that he was having a fight with his wife. So I don't really think that he learned from his lesson too, because he crashed his car not too long ago, and um he can't play golf anymore as in the professional level as he used to because he just
yeah,
crashes his car too often apparently.
And I feel like then also he kind of had the benefit of people relying on like news reports for their information, but now that there's like TikTok and all that, it's like almost there's this whole new area of like people become like detectives in a sense. So like if information needed to be found out, like it would have been found out then and definitely brought to the surface.
Yeah, I also think like giving an apology like months later, it's kind of like, what does that even do for anyone at that point? Because it's kind of like when everyone was asking for it, you couldn't even give it then. So it's just kind of like, it just, especially when it seems so scripted, it's definitely disingenuous. So you see a lot of people now, like even if they do like the black screen post of like apologizing on like their Instagram page, at least people kind of do it now like extremely quickly versus like months later. Because I definitely think it doesn't have the same effect being that far removed from the incident.
Yeah. I think also going off of that, the like break in the time that went on where he didn't say anything, I think just allowed the media to be filled with speculation. And so it's like you're not being able to give your side of the story or any truth. And I think it just came across very like inauthentic.
I agree. And then kind of like in a little bit of a pivot, what are y'all's opinions on this new change of athletes making their own podcasts, having their own shows? Because now they can control how they are perceived exactly how they want to be, which kind of goes into a little bit of NIL, but it also kind of changes the accountability factor because if they are not under a strict ESPN contract and exactly what they can say in their press conference, now they're free to say whatever they want. So I think that gives athletes like a lot more freedom to kind of make their own reputation, which kind of translate to NIL and like likability. Do you guys have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think it's kind of a double-edged sword because I think it gives athletes more freedom, but then I also think it kind of gives them avenues where they can kind of get themselves in trouble. Like Puka Nakua recently, where it's like he was
Mhm.
getting on like live streams and kind of saying things and tweeting things that he probably shouldn't. And he definitely got quite a bit of backlash from that. And obviously to see it didn't really affect him much. He was still in like high spirits at like the Pro Bowl and stuff. So you can tell he's trying to move on from that. But I definitely think, at least for like the Rams organization, he's probably a little bit of like a PR nightmare because he kind of treats his personal socials as like he can kind of say and do whatever he wants, which he does have the freedom to do that. But I do think like athletes can definitely get themselves in trouble by not necessarily being 100% careful of what they're saying on their personal social media pages.
For sure.
Yeah, I think like brand partnerships and NIL athletes have become brands. Like athletes are brands. And so they can be the face of a brand. And like one tweet can cost sponsorship. So I think the intentionality, like social media is great for like being accessible to the public, but also I think it comes with a cost. And I think NIL deals increase pressure to manage your image.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And then, like, do you think the NIL deals can kind of change like how the athlete goes about, excuse me, kind of what they post, how they appear to the public? Because for all we know, if they are working with a brand that has these strict guidelines of what they can and cannot post, like, are we actually seeing the true character of that athlete? Or is it kind of all just a front because they're making money, and then when that deal's over, we're going to see a complete switch? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I also think like when they do work with the brand, it's not just about them anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Like they probably have got or deadlines they need to meet and people they have to respond to. But are they like trained enough in media literacy for this? Like these are just kids if you think
Mm-hmm.
about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, like, and you see, um, just influencers and people like doing brand deals and they not really enjoying the product. And it's kind of like, who do I like? Should I believe if this product is good? So it's kind of just like the realness that we want from athletes and influencers that we're just like questioning the authenticity from them because we thrive and we want that. And I think like going back to like the previous like question of just it's we just want to see and like them, and I feel like they're human too. We want to see their emotional side without them being scrutinized for like saying a curse word or being upset. Like I feel like people like thrive and enjoy seeing like the emotional side of people and not just the robotic side. Like I have to be perfect in front of this camera, else I'll get fined. I think we just I think sometimes it's a little too uptight, but then you also have to recognize they are in a job and a job setting. You can't just have those outbursts like that and you have to control emotions. But I don't know. I just think it is fun to see the emotional side of it.
Yeah. I think along with that, there's a balance of relatability and like being sincere, but also under the guidelines of that, you're understanding that you have to be professional and you're representing a brand and your own personal brand along with the sponsorships you have. And I think us as fans and like consumers naturally, we want to be able to relate. And I feel like relatability and sincerity, is that a word?
Mhm.
Right. I think both of those things go along with like being likable. I think like the consumer, that's very appealing. Um, so I think it's a balance of being likable, having sincere, authentic, relationships with your audience, but also understanding that when you're like have these deals with these sponsors and representing a brand that comes with certain guidelines.
Yeah.
One question that I think I would have for you guys is like in this kind of new era of NFL where athletes are brands, we heard Chai mention that he doesn't get any like media training from universities. Now that NIL is like such a big deal and it's so connected, we obviously had like Clemson Ventures come. So it's so obvious that the university is tied to the NIL space. Do you think universities kind of have a responsibility to kind of protect kids and kind of give them some media literacy in terms of not getting themselves in kind of sticky situations?
I think 100% because ultimately like it directly impacts the university as well if they make a mistake in media. I mean, let's say one of our football players goes online and says something just not respectable to the university at all. It directly reflects where they come from. So people are going to look at the university and see that as a cause too. So I think with the best interest of the university in mind, that they should definitely start implementing that at some point as media starts to become more relevant.
For
Yeah,
sure.
I think go ahead, Taylor.
No, you can. I was gonna wrap us up, but you can give your little point.
Well, I just think that like it's in the best interest of the university to prepare their athletes because ultimately like that is their brand and these athletes are their representatives. So I think if you want as a whole like the university wants to be seen in a likable light and like a positive light to um everyone in like all of America. I think it's in their best interest to prepare their athletes to represent um the university and the brand well.
For sure. And now just kind of like a closing question to wrap up, because we know this whole focus of the podcast today was crisis communication. I think a big, big question is, do you guys think public apologies are sincere or strategic when it's coming from an athlete? It's a heavy question.
I
I
think it's
think it
a
depends on, wait, go ahead, Casey.
no, Claire, you got it.
I think it depends on their approach and how they go about it. Going back to the model, if they see sincere, it just depends on which they take and in the amount of time. So I think it goes off of, are they going to deny it? Are they going to evade responsibility? Are they going to do corrective action? I honestly think it depends on their approach.
Yeah, I was saying that like we kind of mentioned the idea of like cancel culture earlier and people kind of becoming detectives now on social media. And I think people are quick to find something wrong. And I think the problem with that has become is I think controversy has become more prevalent. I think we see any person who's kind of in the spotlight kind of gets a moment where they say something wrong and end up having to apologize. So I think it's also hard because we see so many moments where people have to apologize that it kind of becomes like because we see it so often, I think we're kind of desensitized of just like, oh, they're just kind of going through the motions, apologizing because they have to. Like within the next news cycle, this will go away, but it's something that everyone kind of faces. So I think it's also kind of a product of like the media culture that we've created, where because we scrutinize these athletes so much and we're constantly like picking out things that they need to apologize for, it can kind of make certain apologies, I think, watered down because we just see them so often.
Yeah, well, that concludes our week 2 episode of the Starting Five podcast. Thanks again to Shy for coming on. I think we all learned some very insightful information, especially from a track runner, which I've never personally got to interview before. So I think that was kind of cool to see his side of everything. But that's it. Thanks for watching.